Hi, this is Dave Bennett. We're inside the software installer tool. It is October 8th, 2016, and this video is going to cover installation options, individual installation. So let's say we want to upload something to a website we have. Well, first we have to add the website to our website list. So what website are we going to use? Let's just say emoji-samples.com because this is our fictitious website in this case. This is just a website that we're setting up to show you through all these steps, okay? So here we go. I'm going to want to install something there. All right. What am I going to want to install? Well, a website. Okay. Pretty much any kind of zip files you can put there. SQL databases. You can set up the database and the database user, and this will automatically connect full permissions of the database user to the database. And then you can automatically upload a SQL file in there that already has all your data. As most people know, the typical installation of any kind of software program, there's kind of two things. There's a zip file, and that's got all the files in a folder, right? Or set of folders, okay? And then there's a SQL file. And that's because we have to create a database with a database user that has a pass, okay? So the user needs to be given permission to the database. Okay, and you don't have to actually think about all this so much. I'm just making sure you understand the basic concept. And so then once you have the database created, all right, then that is where we're going to put the SQL file. So the SQL file is all the data that we want to put into an empty database to give it some meat, right? The SQL file will have all the variable input information that will go with the software we're installing. Okay, so whether you are installing a forum or a support center, whatever you're installing to your website, usually when you buy it, download it to install to your website, it's going to be a zip file with a bunch of files in it, and it's going to have a SQL file that needs to go into a database. Often you're given instructions for how to create a database manually inside the cPanel and then upload the SQL file into the database and so on. Now it's kind of a pain. You try to create the database and you wind up having trouble with you added too many characters, too few characters. You try to create the password, it's not strong enough or it's too strong, or I'm sorry, it's not strong enough. You try to create the user and it's too many letters in the name. So you try to make the name match the user and you don't get to. It's kind of a pain, right? Well, we took all that guesswork out by just creating a simple, easy way of handling all this. Okay, so we set it up for our software, but it works for most of your software as well. It will upload zip files, it will create databases, and it will upload SQL files. Now there's just two other things to consider on this particular page that, if you're going to use them, are specific to our own software, our own T2HA websites. Okay, that's this. Security key. Okay, the security key is something that unlocks our website so that you can get upgrades and future upgrades. Okay, the security key is a very particular value in the SQL files that we have with our websites. Okay, so by entering a security key here, then the system will simply know where it goes in here, no problem. Okay, that's because it's specific to our stuff. So if you're uploading something else, don't put anything in. If you have to put something in, just put a dummy value like AAA. You know, just type a letter A 3 times or something. Okay, and that'll serve the purpose. Because if it cannot find where to put it, it'll just skip the line and keep going. Okay, now connection file. Most programs, the connection file, this is the file. Okay, just in case you don't know, this is the file that has the information, info for the right DB, okay, and DB user and pass. Okay, so the point is, the files are sitting here, the database is sitting here, and the files in the database only know how to communicate with each other because of some connection file that may be called connection.php or something else. You know, it could be called database.php or whatever. Okay, so by putting the information into the connection.php file for the database, this is the bridge that connects the actual files to the database. Okay, and again, all we need is to make sure we have the right file in the database so it's not an empty database. Otherwise, there's no difference. If you had this and you had that correct and this existed, but it's empty, it's pretty much the same as just having this all by itself. But the moment you upload the SQL file with all the stuff in it, that's the gearing that runs the whole rest of it. Okay? So most people get into programming and learn how to do this manually. They actually go into the cPanel and they upload the zip file, they right-click it, they extract it. Then they create a connection.php string and they follow a format to fill in all the data. They go and they create the database, then they create the user and the pass. And then they get inside there with php.myadmin, they upload the SQL file. And if they've done it all right, and it's probably taken them 5 minutes, then the whole thing will finally work, right? We simplified that a lot, all right? So especially if you have repetitive work like this to do, you don't want to log in all those cPanels and do all that. You just want to be able to do this automatically. Okay, so let me show you how this works, because now that I've covered the concept, this stuff should kind of make sense to you quickly. Okay, so sorry about all the detail, but once this makes sense to you, then this will probably make complete sense. Okay, so here we go. We are going to install something. Now, to clarify, I could install something that I happen to have locally, like on my computer, like physically sitting here. I could install a zip file. I could install a SQL file if I have one sitting around. Okay, that's no problem. But we also built a file repository, which means that you can put the files online, and that way you can create folders in here to organize your stuff, go into a folder, whatever folder, and then just straight choose files and upload them, and they wind up in this list and they're available for you to use. So you can use them for single installations or batch installations. Okay, so you can use anything in your file repository. By the way, just go up to see my list. File repository to install anything to any of the websites you have in your website list. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a template with a panel, and this happens to be one of our templates. If you upgrade, you get this whole stack. This is over 60. Okay, if you're wondering what these are the templates that you can find at theme2html.com. Okay, and if you go to templates, just hit templates, and it scrolls you down, and you'll notice these are the names. Okay, this is this, this is this, and so on. You can view the demos, you can buy them, but it's more affordable for you if you just upgrade. You're renting them, but you can use them right now, and you can put them up wherever you want. And now there's over 60 of these things. Between the templates and the landing panels, some of these are extreme. They're really interesting to look at. Check out this Expect the Unexpected template, for instance. Another one was that Donate template that you saw at the very top. Now these can really be used for anything because they all come with admin panels. So you can log in and change the images, the logo, the content, the color schemes to make them for anything. I've seen this used for all kinds of stuff. Making Money in Las Vegas was built on this exact same panel, and a nursing home in Bangor, Maine was actually built using this exact same panel. So these are completely interchangeable and they're extremely easy to use once you get used to it. You just log into the cPanel and you start going through these, and they're very easy to use and understand. Now there are a lot of these, and these are very cool. They're really top quality. They were built to be modern and solid and cover everything. Another really extreme one is this biking template here, if you check this out. And it's in the batch. And these are landing pages. We also have landing pages for you, and they're really, really awesome. Okay. And so anyway, that's what you find in the file repository in the different folders here. Okay. So what I want to do is install one of these things. It doesn't really matter to me which. Right now for the demonstration, I'm just going to install one of them to a website. So again, we've got our moji-samples.com. Okay, I'll go ahead and close this for now. And it's empty, right? There's just nothing in here, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and select it, and we're going to install a website. and let's see how long it takes to make the whole thing work. Okay, boom. Time me if you want, because this is how fast you're going to be able to do this, like literally with somebody on the phone. Okay, it figured out the prefix, and I can select the top level domain or an add-on domain from this dropdown if I have one. Since when you get cPanels on our server, you can put an unlimited number of add-on domains. You could have one cPanel and you could have applied 100 different websites to it, literally. So the next time you install a website for someone, it only costs 10 bucks. That is the cost of the domain name from GoDaddy. Because then once you forward the name servers and attach it as an add-on domain in your panel, you're free to use it. And you can install right to it from here, anything in the file repository. You can put on any of your websites. Okay, next point, create a subdomain. It's optional. So I could create a subdomain. Most of you know what a subdomain is. Okay? Subdomain, and for SEO it's huge, is this concept. Instead of www.moji-samples.com, a subdomain would be something like this. Demo is just the words that you see here. And it might be where I put a demonstration of the system. Why would I put it there? Well, because I want moji-samples.com to be its own living website that actually pitches something to people, whatever it is, or offers stuff for people to read or use. But I need this as my workstation out of the way, someplace where Google doesn't know about it, people don't know about it, or I just use it to show demos, or I link to it to show demos, but it's not the main page of my site, right? And that just goes to point out, there's more than one place you can put something. Now, let's say I'm going to install, but I have a guy who's a plumber, and he's going to rent the website from my website. Maybe I've got a website called like Best Plumbers in Town. Okay, just to make this point. So if I added Best Plumbers in Town to my website list, okay, with the cPanel username and password, then I can go ahead and create a subdomain, and the subdomain could be something like Chicago. Okay, that would be the guy who's going to rent his website from me in Chicago. Okay, normally, how do you create a subdomain? You have to go into the cPanel over here. You have to go into the cPanel. You have to go to the subdomain section, and you have to type in the subdomain name. Then you have to type in where it's going to go. Then you're going to hit create, and you're going to wait for it to do that. So it takes easily 2 minutes to create each subdomain in there. Here, it's just part of the installation. Okay, so it's actually extremely fast. Now, next point, database name, and same thing with the user. You don't want to use the same database for entirely different things, right? Like I would not want the same SQL file to be for the Chicago guy and the Denver guy and the Atlanta guy, or it's going to override each other. So I'm going to create a new database every time. Every time I do some new installation in the same place, I'm going to create a new database. Well, I got to make sure the database name and user are different names and users every time, right? So this is what this button is for. You could hand type in names and users, or just for sheer simplification, hit this, and it gives a random character listing that's big enough. It's the right size to create the database name, the database username. No one cares what the password is. I don't even remember. If you want to care, then do something like maybe copy the username and make it the same as the password. Now you might say that that's less safe, and I agree. I mean, I could take this instead and copy it and make it the file name, paste, okay? And by the way, if you see an X, that means it is not strong enough to be a password. I better go a little further. Or wait a minute, maybe I have to click off, I always forget. Or I have to put in some oddball characters, right, to make it a stronger password. Yeah, whatever. Now it's going to just screw around with me, even though it shouldn't. All right. Let me ignore it for a little bit and just see how it acts, because it should be okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Or let me just come back. After all, how fast was this so far? Okay, here we go. Okay, moji-samples. Boom. Okay, I'm going to install the Chicago Plumber template. Okay, I'm going to go for this database and that. Yeah, this could have been caused even because I'm just running on hello, Camtasia right now while I do the recording, and I'm getting some kind of an error caused by that. I don't know. Anyway, I can upload stuff from my own computer, right, that I'll install to this website. So if you have whatever it is you want to install physically sitting on your computer, leave this set to local file. It means local, means here, right where I am. Okay, that's a local file. And I can upload the zip file, right, where it says website path. That really means the zip file. Okay, that zip file is going to be installed right in the root and extracted right in the root. So just think about how your zip file is structured, right? For instance, well, no, let me just go ahead. I mean, most of you guys, it's trial and error. You're going to understand how you're doing that. Just think about the contents in your zip file when you extract them, where they go. That's all. All right, SQL file path. That's the SQL file that would go with the zip file in order to make the software run, either the website or the forum or the support system or whatever it is you use. Okay. All right. Now, I am not going to do that though, because I don't have these things sitting on my computer. I'm going to go into the repository, and that's why there's two choices for the file. So repository. Now I need to select a zip file, and below that, select a SQL file. So I'm going to hit the first one of these. I'm going to go find the thing I want to install. Happens to be a template with a panel. Could be a landing page with a panel. You know, whatever it is I want to install. I might even do a landing page. Who knows? What the heck? Let's do a landing page. So I got my roofers here, right? There's a zip file for all these different landing pages, right? Think about it. That was the landing pages again. Just to make this clear, okay? If I come down, all right? LGIM 1, L-Travel 1, L-Spa 1, right? So when you're looking at these landing pages, okay, and again, you can change these for any website, any industry, anything you want, okay? You are not stuck on these industries or anything like that. You can do whatever you like with these. Many of these have really cool transitions and features and parallax and everything that you might want to deal with, all right? So these are really, really, really cool sites, okay? And really nice landing pages, and you can connect them up and use them, okay? To your newsletter, wherever it goes, Aweber or whatever, okay? Those are the landing pages, all right? So that is in here. That is exactly what you're seeing. See the L-Spa 1? That's the one I was just now showing you, okay? So maybe I want to install that, but I want to install the roofers one, right? Because I'm doing this for the Chicago roofer guy. This is just my idea. All right, now I need to get the zip file that works with the this file here. Okay, let me point that out. If I go in, it brings me to the same place I was last, because it's assuming I need a SQL file, okay, that coordinates with wherever I am. And that's the point. See how I grouped these landing pages with panels together? This SQL file will work with all of these, okay? Now, if I go to a different folder somewhere, there's another folder with templates with panels, then that will have its own SQL file. It doesn't mean that these two are the same, okay? If you go to the biking template, it has its own SQL file, okay? So don't cross the streams. Just go ahead and stick with the same SQL file that would go with your zip file. So I'm gonna go, boom, okay? Now, the panel password. This is something, like I said, that's specific to our templates. This is so somebody can log into the admin panel. So I'm going to make this some nice panel password for this guy. Might be Chicago, you know. Whatever it is for the guy, I might say Chicago Dan, because that might be the right password for that guy to log into his panel. See, I'm going to wind up putting it at chicago.moji-samples.com, and well, it would be chicago.bestplumbersintown.com, but I'm using mojisamples.com for this example. And then he would be able to go to his chicago.bestplumbersintown.com/administrator, and he can log in there. And he needs to know the password. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm creating the password. So guess what that means? That means that when this uploads and it enters the SQL file, it's going to override the dummy password, there's like a or some dummy password in there now. And it's going to override it with whatever this guy's password ought to be so he can log in to his admin panel. Okay, now I need a security key in order to install this for him if I want him to get free upgrades. Okay, and most of the file repository needs those keys. So depending on the package you upgraded to, then you get a key, or I'm sorry, you get 5 keys, 10 keys, or whatever it is when you buy. Okay, and then if you need more keys, get a hold of me and say, quick, Dave, I've got to install a couple websites, unlock them. I got some customers, paying customers, or I need to do it for me. I need 3 keys, or I need 10 keys, or I need 50 keys. What's it going to cost? Just get a hold of me so that we can help you with that. Okay, keys are not expensive. They're not. All right, let me go get a key and paste it in here so we can continue. I'll be right back. Okay, pretty funny how I say I'll be right back, and I'm right back right now. But take a look. Now we have a key. Okay, so I'm going to take that key, copy it, paste it in. So whatever the dummy key was that's useless, in the standard SQL file, I think it's AAAA, it's going to be overwritten with a real key when it installs. Okay. Now the email addresses, in case Chicago Dan here, the plumber, forgets his password and needs to log into his panel. Okay. Again, I want him to log into everyone else's panel. I want him to log into his own, but that's just the point. This is actually going to associate that panel here on Chicago Dot exactly with him. Okay, because that's the goal. That's what I want. All right. So that's going to be, his email address, which in this case I'm just making my own. Okay, now the connection.php file, if I had to use a different name because it's different software, then I would do that, right? Because this system knows how to build the string. It will create your connection file using, and that's what this is for, whatever, I don't know if that works anymore. Whatever. We'll connect this if it doesn't. It uses the database name you entered here, the database user here, the pass here, and just the local host, right? Assumption. And it will build that connection file for you so you don't have to build it. Isn't that nice? These files require connection.php, which is the default. Okay, so I'm going to leave it just like that. Now, file content rules and database rules we haven't covered yet, but the concept, and these are pretty rarely used, but it means that you can install your own software and kind of change the rules. The concept would be you can set up rules that say once this sort of thing is installed, I want to apply rule number 1 and 3 and 5 out of your list of rules. And it will make changes inside those files, like a search and replace. Find something and replace it in this file. Okay, and then also database rules. That says go into the SQL database, MySQL, my PHP admin. Find the table, find the column, and literally change this value to that in a certain cell. And again, you can set up unlimited rules and you can apply them just comma separated, like 1, 3, 5 sort of thing. Now we're not going to do that here. Okay, and that's pretty advanced, so I'll just save it for some other topic. But there you go. If you did want to apply the rules, you could do it right here. You could click on one of these things. It would open it separately. You can view and apply rules, and your rules have IDs. This is where it's supposed to go, the file it's supposed to look for. Find some value, whatever the value is, and change it. Now notice the point is that this happens last. That way you can upload something that's 99% of the way done, but then you really still, because it's custom, you've got to go and change something in the end. So if you know what it is when you upload it, then you know what you need to change in the end. And then it's repetitive. It becomes your rule number 3 every time you install whatever this is, okay, for anybody else. Same with database rules. Click on database rules, and it says flat out, okay, select yourself a database. I don't even have one because I just created this. Let me use something else, okay? And oh heck, I don't know. Okay, all right. Whatever the password is, I don't even know. View and apply the rules. Okay, here we go. Right. Now I need to worry about that because the system gets it. Here's the point. Again, whatever the rule number is, it's going to be assigned when we add rules, because you can add rules for both of these. You can add rules here, and you can add rules here. And then you just say this rule means go find this table in this database, find this table, find this column, and change whatever it is here to whatever it is there, okay? And then apply. So now these become new rules in your file content rules and database rules sections, okay? And that's how this stuff works. All right, so that's cool. So anyway, I'm going to close those because we're not going to apply those rules, okay? All done? I'm going to go ahead and install it. I just hit submit. Now, when I do that, remember how quick this really went. Let me actually do it the old-fashioned way. Let me just go ahead and start over. Why? Just to show you, again, I mean, all the chat makes it seem like it's hard work, but it isn't. Emoji samples. Chicago. Maybe Chicago-plumber, right? Because this is on emoji samples, not best plumbing in Chicago. That and that. Go to the repository. Let's go get, what was that? Landing pages with panels. Not roofers. Where's my plumbers? Oh, I didn't have a plumbers, did I? All right, fine, fine. I'll do roofers. I'll just say Chicago roofers. All right. Now, SQL file. Okay, there it is. Okay. Password's going to be whatever it was, Chicago. And that security key is right here. So you get your security keys. You'll have them. You'll just apply them for whatever you want. This is going to go to, you know, like in case I forget the password, right? There it is. And I'm done. So what did that take? 1 minute or 2? Especially if I don't describe what I'm doing anymore, because it's just, you already know what you're doing and you don't need to think about it. Okay. So we're going to submit, and just keep in mind, it's going to Chicago-roofers. Oh, access was denied for whatever reason. Website upload was false, and I got to go look at why. I'm not. Oh, I think I know why. I changed the password in the password list, so I got to go update whatever that password is for that website. Pretty sure I know exactly what's going on there. Right back. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, this is where I'm actually going to change the password now. Let me see if I know what it is for the cPanel. Again, this is the kind of thing that you run into when somebody changes the cPanel password on you, and you got to ask them, hey, I need the new cPanel password. I'm not sure what it is, right? No, what was it? Ah, that. Now I know what it is. Okay, fine. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So now let's come back. Sorry about that. But heck, it's just good. All right, good practice. Chicago. Go get this key. And that's it. There we go. Should be done. Now, what's it saying it did? First of all, let's go see if it did it. Okay. If I refresh, All right, it did create the folder. So here we go. Ready? Let's see if it works. Chicago-roofers. All right, there we go. Now, if all is done, okay. Oh, that's cool. I love this site. And I can go back up. Okay, landing page. We need to update all the wording. We need to update the logo and stuff. And again, how would he do that? You or him, whoever wants to go here and do it. Go to administrator. Okay, you log in. Default username is admin. Then what do we say the password was? Chicago. Right? Let's go in there. Okay, and I could save it. Funny thing is, I wind up taking it down anyway because I use this site for everything. Now, if I wanted to update the logo, I can just do that real quick. I happen to know where that is, right? Global settings, and I'm going to go down here to logo, and also notice what it's doing up here. It's saying that the updates are available, and that's the point of the license key, that you can get the updates, okay? So let me just find whatever it is that should be the logo here. Roofers, update. Okay, now I can click this thing to see what it looks like. There we go. We got our logo in here, our default logo. All right, and then I can start upgrading the website, literally. It's just going to install the updates. So there's a bunch, right? There's like 8. And yes, you want the license keys on these things because we come out with updates and we put them out. And the functions, you're going to see at one point it's going to add, oh, it did, the import feed file. Must have been like version 1.5, I think, created the import feed file. Big deal, okay? So whatever, there you go. So the point is I installed the whole thing. And again, let's go back and see what that means, okay? That means this. It uploaded, or it created the subdomain. It uploaded the website, that's the zip file. It extracted it where it needs to be extracted in that subdomain. Then it created the database for me, and it created the user and gave the user authorization to the database. Then it uploaded the SQL file and ran a script to say, just make sure the SQL file works in this database. Okay. DB database changes, whatever were supposed to be done are done. The connection file was created to attach, again, the connection file was created to attach the front-end files with the back-end SQL file that's in the database. And we had no database rules or files, so nothing was applied. But you see how much work it did automatically and efficiently? Okay, there you go. That's the value of the individual installation. Now, real quick, before I forget, let me close other tabs. Okay, I want to point something else out. Do you have to install a SQL file? No, you can do partials, all right? Let's say right now I got that thing installed, and so let's say what I want to do is, who knows, maybe install another theme to that guy's panel. As a matter of fact, watch this, okay? We're going to log back in, and this guy has one theme. It's roofers, right? Let's say I wanted to install another theme to that guy's panel, just to make the point. Okay, so I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to go again to Chicago roofers, and it's going to warn me, hey, there's this thing already exists. Now, I don't need a database, and I don't need a database user. Why? Because I'm going to upload more files that work with the same connection.php file with the same SQL file and the same database, and the guy can just switch between them. It'll use all the same plugin information, so it'll kind of look weird at first if he switches between them. But he can do his different projects that way inside this one panel. He can go back and forth and do his work. Okay, so I don't need to create a database, so this doesn't matter and that doesn't matter. I can delete this or leave it. If it's not going to create a user, it's not going to create a pass. But for cleanliness, just get rid of it. Okay. Local file, now repository. Let me go get it. Okay. This time, landing pages only. Not with a panel. I'm not going to install a panel. I'm just going to install the landing page I want. Okay. And maybe it's the spa. Okay. I am not going to install a SQL file. I don't need one because I'm not creating a new database. Okay. I don't need to install a panel password either because I'm not installing a panel. I'm only adding another stack of files to an existing panel right here in the same place. Okay. And you obviously don't need this either. You can leave it in, or for cleanliness, just kill it. Okay. So what do we really have? Select your website, select your top level domain or add-on domain, select the subdomain. If you're on an add-on domain, yes, this will know to create the subdomain on the add-on domain. If that's what you want, then you just make sure to choose your add-on domain and put in a subdomain, and it will realize what you're doing. Are subdomains required? No, they're optional. You can install to the root. When you do, the system will warn you, hey, are you sure you want to install this? It's going to the root. It could overwrite something. Well, there's just nothing in the root, right? I know that. There's nothing here. Or maybe old stuff I'm willing to overwrite. So yeah, I realize that, but you can do it. You can take this completely out. Okay, no problem. Well, I'm going to put it in because, like I said, I'm adding another template to the same guy's panel. Okay, so that would be, and it's going to say you did not add a SQL file, right? You may only add files to newer existing subdomains if you do this. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. And so now what's this going to look like? Well, it's pretty simple. Subdomain creation, a DNS entry for the domain already exists. Yeah, no problem. It doesn't have to create the subdomain because it already exists. Great. Okay. Did it upload what I wanted it to? Yes. Did it extract it? Yes. Nothing else applies. So now, if I come back and refresh, the guy's got these two different themes, right? That meant this. He can go into his themes and he can switch. He can activate this one. Now, that means if I go here, okay, I mean, it's still the same, sorry, let me just click this so that we can see the front end. There we go. All right. So now the only thing is that's kind of mismatched because I'm on Chicago Roofers, but I'm showing a spa. Whatever. Now you get the point. So I can still do all my projects in this demo, panel, and then I can actually export these projects. Okay, if you're using our templates, you can export them to wherever I want, like the front end of Moji samples. Or I could just install something else to the front end, because again, with individual installation, you do not have to put in a subdomain. You can leave the subdomain out, and you can just install straight to the root. Okay? There you go. I think I've covered everything there is to cover in this installation. What else can you do with individual installation options? Just to, to make sure you can think about it. Let me kill that thing. All right. You can install what else to a website? Think about it. If you can just upload a zip file and extract it, and you can either do it to a subdomain or do it in the root, what does that mean? That means you can upload, say you've got Google Webmaster Tools and you download that little file that you need to put into the root of all your websites in order to verify them in Google Webmaster Tools. Can you just go ahead and upload that particular thing? Yeah, I actually have it in the repository. Let me just kind of show you real fast what I put in there that are different concepts. Google verification file, okay? I took my little HTML file that you would upload to websites, and I bundled it with a couple of my partners, the guys who helped me go and check things out in Google Webmasters. And so we each need to put our HTML files into the root. Well, you know how hard it is when I say, okay, I got to upload mine to this website. Now I got to log into the next one, cPanel, upload that one, log into another one, upload that one. And then I have to tell my partner to do it. This is better. I just tell my partner, email me your HTML file, and he gives it to me. And I tell my other partner, email me yours, he gives it to me, and I just zip them all together, theirs and mine. Okay, now that I have it all zipped together, okay, whether I do individual installation or batch installation, where I'm uploading and installing to like 50 websites at once or 50 subdomains at once, or whatever you want to do, then I'm just going to straight use the zip file, and it's going to upload, extract all of ours, all 3 of ours, our verification files, to this website, and then upload, extract to the next one, upload, extract to the next one, upload, extract to the next one. That's how we can create 50 websites and then turn around and put the verification files for Google Webmaster Tools into all of them also. See the value of that? Okay, what else do I have in my file repository as another example of things I can do? Okay, I have a subdomain installed verification file. What that means is this: I could just simply, and I can do it with batch as easily as individual. Let's say I want to create a new subdomain, but I really don't want to put hardly anything in there. I just want to create it. Well, you have to install something or the tool doesn't work. So you know what I created in that file repository? One little text file called sub-done.txt. Okay, and that way I can install a zip file which only has that little tiny sub-done.txt file in it. Okay, and all that text file says is this is done. So literally, I use that little tiny file to auto-generate up to, I think we can handle about 400, 450 subdomains an hour on a single website. Anyone who doesn't know the value of subdomains on a website, there is extraordinary value. It's not that you normally need to create 400 or 450. You might only need to create 50, like one per state or something like that, or one per major keyword you have. Or if you're doing a directory or you're offering different items, then you might create a new subdomain for each different type of thing you offer, right? That's what all those different subdomains are for. So we might literally install the different websites to the different subdomains. Well, we're going to start by just creating the subdomains. And that's what that simple little file helps us do. Straight create those subdomains one after the next really, really fast. Okay, so there are all kinds of things you can do. Just use your ingenuity. What is it you can do if you can upload zip files and extract them, and if you can upload, or if you can auto-generate databases and auto-upload SQL files into them, and you can do this with different subdomains on a website. How many different programs and things can you run in mass that before you never would have tried to do because it would have been too much work, right? And you would have never tried to offer it to a client because you would have had to charge them for 20 man hours of work. When now you can just map it out in Excel and upload that file or whatever, copy and paste the data in, or say with the batch files, you just upload your files into the file repository. And then on batch installation, guess what it is? Download the sample, fill it out, paste it in here, process it, and you can have it look up the stuff in your file repository as it goes and install each next thing to each next place. Isn't that neat? That means when you download your sample, you can even set it up to install everything to the subdomains of some website. And then you have it as a template. You just keep that. And then every time you want to do the whole thing for a next paying customer, for example, then you can attach a new domain name and then open that file you have, that Excel file, change the domain name, and then paste that in here and hit go. And it'll do the exact same process again of installing all that stuff for that next domain name. You know, that next client or that next project you're launching, okay? Or so you can give yourself backlinks from other domains, all right, for all your different projects. A lot of you guys may not have thought of it yet, but these are things that can be done. Okay, we'll talk more as we go, but there you go. You know, there's more stuff you can do with this tool than we've even thought of. Is it possible to update backlinks in the footer of everyone's files automatically? Yeah, by using the file content rules. Say, look up the old backlink and replace it with a new one. So literally, you could have that when you're installing, batch installing. Let me point that out just to make sure you get it, because we're going to get here in a minute. But I just want to make this point clear. Okay. You have file rules, 1, 2, 3, and you have database rules, 1, 2, 3. Whatever you want to use. If you don't have any rules, just leave it blank. If you do have rules, put them in 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. You know, and you can apply the same or different file rules for all the different stuff you're going to batch install. Okay. All right, so far so good. That is the next topic I'm going to do is the batch installation. So I'll pick it up from here. We're going to keep going. I hope you guys are enjoying this and seeing the value. All right.